we also invest in startups and we face this problem as well ourselves as a company, that the Indian market is not large enough to invest a lot in technology. So, so how do you, in a situation like this, compete with MNCs which have large investments in technology?
No, I think it's a good question. I think part of the problem is in India, the potential is there and the market is developing. I think it'll take a few more years for it to fully realize the potential. And for all its potential, we get excited about smartphones. We're talking a number of 300 million in a country of 1.3 billion people.
Yeah.
And not all of them have good connectivity as well. So I think the digital market is still developing. And so that's the problem we run into. And so as companies getting built here, it's difficult to scale across India and reach that full potential, which gives you the resources to go compete internationally. But I think it's just a moment in time. Hopefully Indian companies are more thoughtful about, when they build stuff, also targeting similar areas like Vietnam and Indonesia and Thailand. I think those markets are developed, and the same products would work in those markets as well. So I think they need to set their sights a bit bigger. But it's a good question. But I think the trend lines are strongly in the favor. I think every year I can see that the rate at which things are changing. So in about 3 to 4 years, I'm pretty convinced, at least in a 5 to 10 year time frame, that there will be big global, software companies coming out of India, and we will be very used to it.
So when these guys graduate and when they want to build the next Google, they should build for the international market as well and not just for the Indian market.
Yeah, I would aim big, and I definitely think you can build from India, and we see that at Google increasingly there are things which we think about building for the Indian market, but which we think will apply globally.
So we are here sitting at IIT Kharagpur, and technology, as we know, is disrupting everything. It's disrupting education as well. Elementary education, even higher education. Today you can get access to the best courses offered by the best universities in the world online. Right? You can get access to courses from Stanford, MIT, everywhere on your desktop. Right? So in a situation, and there are 5,000 engineering colleges in India and many other institutions. So what is sitting where you are, what would you recommend to them? How should they be looking at education? How should they be thinking about education going forward?
I think, one of the great things about India is this tremendous interest in education. People talk about it all the time. Most parents aspire for this for their children. And so I think it's a great foundation we have as a country. I think education needs to evolve and change just like with everything else. In my experience growing up here, I think there's a lot of emphasis on, spending time on the books and, learning things academically. I think, working the real world, I would say, it is important to be well-rounded. It's important to, try different things. Take some risks. I would encourage people to, follow their passions a little bit more. I think one of the, for all the great things about the Indian educational system, I think there's a lot of pressure to follow set lanes throughout your career. You're in high school, you're thinking about college. I get very surprised people come to IITs and immediately they're thinking about IIMs and so on. I think it's important to get real world experience. And if you take the US, for example, at a place like Stanford, most students don't choose their majors till their final year. So people explore different things and find what they're really passionate about. So I think those are all good things to aspire to. I think I would like to see people value creativity, value experience of doing things, taking risks, and academics is important, but it is not as important as it's also made out to be.
So you would want people and institutes to focus a lot more on